so much for taking the time to join me today. I appreciate you taking 30 minutes out of your busy schedule to be here with me. I want to take just a quick moment to introduce myself and Equity 401k Consultants. So my name is Mike Mneeley. I'm a certified plan fiduciary advisor, owner and investment consultant here at Equity 401k Consultants. My mission here is simple. It's building prosperity for businesses and security for their employees. And the webinars that we provide, like today, are here to provide you with valuable information and insights to help you manage your plan as best as possible. So for today, this will be a quick 20 to 25 minute presentation. My goal is to provide you with pertinent updates and changes coming to your plan related to the Secure 2.0 legislation that passed at the end of 2022. These updates are going to reflect changes that may change some different aspects of your plan. So here's what we're going to cover today. Give a brief introduction and overview of Secure 2.0, and then we'll dive into what I feel to be the three most pertinent changes that are coming starting now and starting into January 2024 and beyond. So let's take some time and let's dive in. So let's begin with a little bit about Secure 2.0. Secure 2.0 was passed at the end of 2022, as I mentioned, and its changes have started to take effect here in 2023. This legislation has created even more changes from its iteration known as Secure 1.0 that was passed at the end of 2019. And like its older brother, Secure 1.0, the 2.0 version is going to present some challenges for everyone in the retirement plan industry. So for plan sponsors and administration, these challenges are that some rule changes are still going to need guidance on how to be implemented. So we're still, in some cases, waiting for the Department of Labor and the IRS to give guidance on some of these changes. Some changes will put plans over the edge into the participant count that creates the need for what's called a large plan audit. And that can be pretty costly for some businesses. And some changes like the ones we're going to discuss today will need to be implemented in order to keep compliant and be compliant with what the legislation is asking for. And so this means that you're going to need to be working with your partners to ensure that your plan document, your technology, and your record keepers are ready to handle these changes here as they start to become implemented. So what is Secure 2.0? Secure stands for the Setting Every Community Up for Retirement Enhancement Act. And as 2.0 mentions, this is the second iteration of that act. So this legislation is continuing the agenda that was set forth with the first version, which is to help more Americans save for retirement, help businesses implement retirement plans, and ease the pain for administration and for employers. But like any other big overhauls in legislation, there's going to be changes that work and some that will need guidance on how to implement, and some may be a little tough to administer at first, especially as many firms are going to be going through growing pains just to keep up. So let's talk about the first provision on our list today, automatic enrollment requirement. So this is going to be meaningful if you have started a plan in 2023. If you haven't recently started a plan, this isn't going to be a provision that you're going to need to be worried about. Automatic enrollment is a provision that is designed to get every eligible participant into the plan, and it's been shown to help with overall participation, which, as you think about it, kind of seems to be the obvious point, right? Automatic enrollment of every participant into the plan, working to get them in, working to get them to stay in the plan, and saving for retirement. And so that is why plans in 2023 and beyond are now going to have this as a mandate. And this also comes with the need to increase the deferral rate by 1% each year until all participants are contributing at least 10% of pay, but no more than 15%. So essentially, plans will need to automatically enroll participants at between 3 and 10% and increase that rate by 1% per year. And of course, no more than 15%. And again, working to get the savings rates up for Americans across the working class spectrum, as well as to help with more plan participation. So, as always, employees do have an opportunity to always opt out. And if they do so after contributing deferrals to the plan, they must have the ability to take a distribution under what's called an eligible automatic contribution arrangement with the withdrawal provision. So this is something that you will work through with your third-party administrator to get into the plan. Another important provision, and this is going to affect all plans, so as automatic enrollment affects new plans after December 29th, 2022, this is one that is going to affect the entire retirement plan industry and plans that are already in place. And this is dealing with what we call the long-time part-timers. So folks that have been with you for a long time but only work part-time, not what we would consider full-time hours. And so long-time part-timers will now have the ability to be eligible for the plan after working at least 500 hours per year for 2 years. And then they will then be able to begin to contribute to the plan. And this is working at least 500 hours in the prior 2 years. The original Secure Act 1.0 that was passed in 2019 provided that employees who perform 500 hours of service during the 3 consecutive 12-month periods must also be permitted to participate in the employer's 401k plan. So this loosens the restrictions that plans have had in order to make a 401k plan a full-time benefit. So it is important to note what this means. This means that 1,000 hours has been the normal restriction that has been the most stringent for 401k plans. So age 21, 1,000 hours, 12 months of service, that is the most stringent you could be. And 1,000 hours actually only means 20 hours per week, if you count 50 weeks in a year. So 500 hours means any of those folks that are working 10 hours per week. Those are going to be folks that are going to be considered in this long-time part-time. And for most of us, we consider full-time to be 30 hours, 40 hours, depending on the company, 35 hours. And so you can see that these hour requirements are certainly much less under IRS rules for employer-sponsored retirement plans. That is 20 hours per week is considered full-time. And so once a part-time employee works the required hours for 2 consecutive years, the employee must be allowed to contribute to the plan by the earlier the first day of the plan year after they satisfied the requirements or 6 months after the date the employee satisfied the requirements. And we usually get the question, well, how is this going to affect vesting? So ERISA's vesting rules will correspondingly be updated to provide employees who participate in the plan under this rule that they'll be credited with a year of service for each year in which they perform 500 hours of service. Employers do not have to make non-elective or matching contribution for employees who become eligible to participate in the plan under this Secure 2.0 rule and Secure 1.0 rules. And employers may elect to exclude those employees who do become eligible to participate in the plan under this rule for certain non-discrimination testing purposes. So this is going to affect some companies. This may affect your company. It may not. You may not have a big, long-time, part-time group. And the good news is there are still a couple of years, but we are going to need to start counting those. And so again, you'll want to work with your third-party administrator to make sure that you are following all of these new compliance guidelines. This one is going to be going to effect on 1/1/2024. And this one is mainly going to affect what we know as our highly compensated employees. So for those employees who earn more than $145,000 in 2023, they will be required starting in 2024 to place catch-up contributions into a Roth account. So instead of being able to provide those catch-ups to go pre-tax, they will now have to go post-tax under these rules. So catch-up contributions if your plan does allow them. Most plans do. I don't know a lot of plans that I work with that do not allow this flexibility. Apply to those that are age 50 and over. These are designed to give an extra contribution for those participants who are getting closer to retirement and maybe they haven't saved enough or they would like to catch up on their retirement savings. So if your plan does not offer a Roth feature, you will need to work with your TPA on this and your record keeper to ensure that a Roth option exists for these types of contributions when it does apply. This also will mean working with your payroll provider to properly provide any codes for the contributions. So with that said, this is going to be the last part of our presentation. I did promise that this would be a quick webinar. It always is. However, you will find if you are attending our monthly webinar series here at Equity 401k Consultants, we like to provide best practices that you can work to implement immediately to help with the plan management and keep you in compliance and keep you on the right track. So the first one that is an actionable best practice, as I've mentioned throughout this presentation, is work with your third-party administrator to make sure your plan document will be updated with these coming changes. It can be extremely challenging and difficult to navigate new legislation, especially at times when we're waiting for the Department of Labor to give us guidance or the IRS to give guidance. And some of these provisions are going to affect your plan. As I mentioned, the automatic enrollment certainly doesn't affect plans that were created prior to December 29, 2022. But going forward, it is going to be a provision for new plans. And if new plans do not implement it yet, they have to do it by 2025. So you're going to want to continue to work with your third-party admin to stay in compliance. The same with adding a Roth option. The majority of third-party administrators, of course, are going to automatically begin to add Roth features to every plan document. A lot of the new plans that are getting set up, most of the time, we just add it anyway for our clients because it creates flexibility for the participants, and it's there if they want to utilize it. In this case, if you've got highly comps that are looking to make those catch-up contributions, this is going to be the way that they're going to do it. So you're going to want to continue to work with your third-party administrator to make sure that you're keeping up on these changes and that you are going to remain compliant. This brings me to number 2. If you have attended our fiduciary education webinars in the past, if you've gotten a copy of our ebook, which is the 401k Success Blueprint, we put in there about this one all the time, and that is utilizing checklists. Checklists are a very useful and very important tool to running a successful retirement plan because things can certainly fall through the cracks, and checklists allow us to stay on top of those without any issues. And as I've mentioned in prior webinars that I've done, checklists are utilized in the aviation industry. And so, they have been implemented to keep pilots in the aviation industry from having dangerous situations, or if they're in the middle of a situation, to be able to work through it. And so I am certainly a strong advocate for checklists. If you don't have any checklists and you would like some, I would be happy to provide them. My contact info is going to be at the end of this presentation, and I would be happy to send them to you. So please feel free to reach out to get those. Number 3 is to make sure that you are working with your plan advisor to help create best practices to implementing these changes. Your plan advisor is your strongest advocate for your plan, and they understand, or at the very least should understand, the goals and objectives of your plan. So that means that they can advocate for you. They can make sure that you are working with the third-party administrator properly to get what you need in place and to make sure that these changes are implemented on your behalf. They can't always do everything. Some things are going to require signatures from you or you to be involved in certain aspects of it, but they can definitely help you implement the best practices like keeping a fiduciary file, keeping checklists, reviewing with your third-party administrator at least once a year, things like that to make sure that we're on top of these. And lastly, if you haven't reviewed or benchmarked your service team within the last 2 or 3 years, this can present certainly a great opportunity to make sure that they are up to the task of helping implement these changes as easily as possible. So you take the time to do this, you take the time to go through the benchmark process, and you can add questions during the benchmarking process about Secure 2.0 changes and how they will stack up as these changes move into place. We are probably going to see a lot of consolidation in the retirement plan space, especially as some of these changes need to go into effect, because some record keepers are going to have to spend a lot of money to have the technology in place. And so if your record keeper is lagging behind on some of these, or you don't feel that the technology will be there to be up to the task to help you as a plan sponsor and administrator keep on your fiduciary standard of care, the benchmarking process is a great way to look into that. And by now, if your third-party administrator hasn't been sending you notices about Secure 2.0, if they haven't been providing resources and information, or they simply aren't discussing with you like the catch-up contribution changes that are coming for our highly comp folks at the end of this year, that might signal to you that it's time to benchmark and start looking at what other service providers are out there and the service model they have. And this goes for plan advisors too. Your plan advisor should be helping you navigate these waters and working through them with you. So if you don't feel like there's an adequate service going on, you can certainly benchmark those individuals in your overall plan. We here at Equity 401k Consultants can provide a benchmarking for you where we can give you a objective third-party look into the plan. And we do not have to become on as your advisor. We don't have to make any changes. We do charge a fee for this process, but we can help you do it, and we can help you objectively look at your plan. And at the end of it, you will have something that you can put into your fiduciary folder. So again, I just want to take time again to say thank you to all of you for attending this webinar. Again, we put these on as a value add for both our clients and for folks that are running a retirement plan. We know that there is a lot of information and a lot of challenges that come with navigating and running a retirement plan. So if you have questions, if you have concerns, if you'd like a copy of this presentation, any resources on Secure 2.0, checklist, anything that we can offer, I will be happy to send it over to you. Just simply shoot me an email, as you see there at mneeley at equity401k.com. You can always get more information on us and the services we offer at equity401k.com. And I will look forward to seeing you all on the next webinar.